up? What up? What's happening? If you were looking at this face and listening to this voice, you were tuned in to the best kept secret in sports talk. I'm your friendly neighborhood smoker, and you are officially back on the hot seat. And what we do on the hot seat? We set somebody's ass on fire. And who are we setting on fire this week? The entire goddamn NBA. Yes, sir, we are talking NBA free agency. So without any further ado, man, let's get into it. Paying homage to the ghost to my left and my right. I know why you're here. You came for the gospel. God damn it, I'm going to give it to you. So, yes, one of my favorite times of the year, man. I love NBA free agency, man. Gives you insight to what a team is trying to do, what direction they're going to go in. And to me, it really sets the table for the upcoming season, right? A lot of teams made some decent moves, man. A lot of teams got better. You saw a lot of teams add a lot of key pieces. And if you listened to this show before, you've heard me say something along the lines of, there is no in between with me. You're either contending or you're rebuilding. That's it. You see routinely around the league, in sports in general, you see executives get paid millions of dollars to do nothing. You actually see some executives get paid to tear teams apart. And since we're on the topic of fucking up teams, listen, which camera am I? This one? Okay, it's only one in here. If you want somebody to tear your team up, I'm available. I will fuck your team up for half the price you paying these guys to do it right now. Because a lot of executives, a lot of owners are paying these guys millions upon millions of dollars to do nothing, right? They scared. They won't pull the trigger. They trying to save money. You have some owners who won't commit to winning. Blah, blah, blah. Man, what the fuck ever. Holler at me. I'm available. If you want your team to swim in mediocrity for years upon years, and you want somebody to fuck your team up for the foreseeable future, can't nobody do it better than me. I'll fuck your team up. That's what I see year in and year out in different sports. If you want, listen, when I say there is no in between, I'm a Bulls fan, right? Good job, AK, by the way. Great job, AK. But for years, under the John Paxson, Garth Foreman regime, I didn't know what the hell they were trying to do. Whether it be personnel, whether it be coaching, I was clueless. There were times in which I thought Chicago was going to blow that shit up, which I was fine with because at that point, at least I know what direction you're trying to go in. And then there were some points when you thought they were trying to contend and the pieces didn't fit the fucking puzzle. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? In comes AK, and you see in just 1 year the direction Chicago is trying to go in. He wants to build a contender. Not saying that this team is going to contend, but I am very, very, very pleased at what he's done. Even though some of the moves don't make basketball sense, I'm okay. At least he's shown a level of a competency. At least he showed that, hey, listen, I want to build a winner, right? He's been aggressive. He's gone out and got good pieces. And so what if you mortgage your future for the price of winning? At some point, you have to pay to win. So I'm okay with it. So there's a lot of head scratching that's been going on my end when I look at what teams are doing, or more importantly, what they're not doing. Try this on. See how this fit. With me, the question isn't, did you get better? For a lot of teams, the question is, are you good enough? Right? I don't getting better. I think that's relatively easy. Add a piece here, you add a piece there. So I guess conversely, this team is better going into this season than they were the previous season. Okay. So fucking what? So previous season you won 35 games. You add a piece here, you add a piece there. Now you're going to win 40 games. Woo! Yeah. Whoop de fucking do. 40 win. That's easy to do. That's not hard. What are your expectations going into the season? How pleased is the fan base going to be with you for just being average? If you call 40 wins a season average, we're trending in the right direction. We're making traction. No, the fuck you're not. somebody's playing with your ass. Somebody isn't being upfront, or either that or somebody doesn't know what the hell they're doing with the job position that they hold. You look at the Lakers. If the question is, are you good enough? That's the only team this season that has answered that question. You look at all of the moves they've made. Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard. You look at adding Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, Trevor Ariza. You look at all the guys they added, Kendrick Nunn. I think Malik Monk was a underrated signing. You look at all the pieces that are now in the fold with the Lakers, adding to probably 2 top 6 players in the league with Anthony Davis and LeBron James when healthy. And when I say, are you good enough to beat the Brooklyn Nets? So let's go ahead and hit the pause button right now. Let's not fool ourselves, all right? I understand the Milwaukee Bucks are the reigning, defending NBA champions. Congratulations to them, right? I don't come on here to bullshit y'all. Y'all know that. The team to beat are the Nets. That team is unbeatable, all right? As it stands right now, that team is unbeatable. The way the NBA is constructed, the way the teams have put themselves together, that team is unbeatable. So prior to free agency, the question you should have asked yourself was, are you good enough? The question for the Lakers was no. And I'm not saying I would pick them to beat the Nets right now if the finals were to start today with these rosters constructed as they are. I'm telling you that if they were to beat if the Lakers were to beat the Nets, I wouldn't be surprised. That roster is old, and some of the moves they've made probably don't make sense on the floor, but that team is still really, really good. I'm not going to get too much into the Russell Westbrook thing, mostly because I'm a Westbrook fan, so I get it. I understand it, and I'm happy to see him in L.A., right? I'm actually see him able to contend for a title for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. But at the same time, doesn't make sense. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to discuss the moves they made show that Pelinka is a competent GM. For the most part. I think he's put together a roster that can compete and beat anybody in the league. So just for the sake of saying that the Lakers do play the Nets, if the Lakers lose, there are no goddamn excuses. When you look at what's on paper, when you look at what you have to work with, when you look at what he's given Frank Vogel to put out there, the product he's able to put out there on the floor, there are no excuses if they lose, because that team from top to bottom is the most talented team in the league, bar none. That team answered the question, are you good enough? There are a few other teams that had the same question, and there have been no answers, at least not right now. Free agency isn't over. There's still some signings to be made and probably some big names to be moved, which I'll get to here in a second. But there are some teams like the Nuggets who have the reigning defending MVP on their team with Nikola Jokic. See, here's my problem with a Denver Nuggets or a Philadelphia 76er, or even, like I was alluding to earlier, a Milwaukee Buck. You have superstars, elite of the elite in their primes. The Bucks to a lesser degree because they cashed out. Giannis re-signed last year. Here he is holding the NBA Finals MVP trophy and the Larry O'Brien trophy. No quarrel with that, right? If the objective is to get back to the promised land, they didn't do enough. They didn't have enough room. They didn't have enough assets. Listen, man, y'all make too many goddamn excuses for these GMs and these VPs and so on and so forth. Nobody is paying you to be average. If something doesn't seem like it's possible, your job is to make the impossible possible. Your job is to put the best product on the court that you possibly can. If you are not doing that and the objective is to win, you're contending, then you're failing at your job, so therefore you can no longer hold this position. You are whittling away Jokic's prime. That's exactly what you're doing. Philly is whittling away Joel Embiid's prime. There are moves to be made. They'd be brash moves. They'd be, I guess you would call them bold. But these are things that need to be done if you are truly trying to build a winner. And I'll take you back here. Last year, Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets against the Lakers. If you watch the series and you remember it, think about it. The Nuggets were competitive, right? No one picked them to win. No one thought they would win, but they were competitive. One thing I did notice, there was a glaring need for scoring, right? At times, Jeremy Grant wasn't just the third scoring option, he was the second. They couldn't get that. They had a real serious issue getting the ball in the hole. So I'm thinking to myself, this offseason, they're going to find some way to, because you see Jokic being who he is, right? You see Jamal Murray for the entire playoff, he had a coming out party, right? Who can complement these guys? Who's going to be somebody where you can say this person is good enough to be the third person on the championship winning team? The name that came to my mind immediately was Demar Derozan. He's going to be a free agent. He has an opt-out clause for the next season. He's probably, so that's an expiring contract. San Antonio's going no goddamn where. And it wasn't rumored that he was on the trading block, but that doesn't mean you don't call and ask. That doesn't mean you don't ask what the asking price is for him. And even if the asking price is above market value for DeMar DeRozan or something that you don't agree with, who gives a shit? Your job is to win. If you want to maximize on the pieces that you currently have, you do what you do. You do what you need to do to get a player like DeMar DeRozan. You at that time, you go out and you put in fillers on the Zach LaVine at that time, on the Bradley Beal at that time. Who knew Russell Westbrook was available? I would have moved every fucking mountain in Denver to give Jamal Murray to Houston for James Harden. Whatever it is you would have had to do to make that team better, to say that the next time you go up against a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, we're not only going to compete, we're going to win. We need to be the favorites going into the series. If you don't have that mindset, what the fuck are you doing? And like I said, the Nuggets aren't the only team. I spoke about the Bucks. I spoke about the Sixers. Would have traded Ben Simmons 2 seasons ago, if we're being honest. I don't understand the asking price they have for Ben Simmons right now. Philadelphia 76ers have an asking price as if the rest of the league didn't see the NBA playoffs. We all saw Ben Simmons. And it's nothing that we haven't really seen before, but I'm not a proponent of blaming one person for losing. That I think, team sports, team effort. He's the reason they lost to the Hawks, period. I said going into last season, they should have moved hell and heaven to get Chris Paul. Once I found out Chris Paul was available, even if he wasn't available, right? Even if OKC wasn't talking about shipping him some goddamn well. Chris Paul is the missing piece to a championship contender in Philly. And I'm not even talking about Chris Paul and Ben Simmons playing together. I would have swapped the two. Chris Paul's too old. His contract was too big. Man, I don't give 3 drops of monkey piss about none of that shit, because nobody can tell me, at least not honestly, that if Chris Paul would have played on the Sixers this year, they wouldn't be NBA champions. Think about the road. Think about them having to play the Hawks in the second round. If they have Chris Paul, they beat the Hawks. If they have Chris Paul, I'm willing to bet you cash money they would have beat the Bucks. You go into the finals against whomever, because it wouldn't have been Phoenix, of course, right? So you go in the finals against the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. Philly is sitting here as your new 2020 and 2021 NBA champions if they have Chris Paul. But executives are scared to pull the trigger on things like this. Well, Ben Simmons still young. He has a monstrous contract. He has a lot of potential. At some point in sports, the word potential becomes a dirty word. I don't want to hear nothing else about Ben practicing this motherfucking jump shot. I've been hearing that song since he got into the goddamn league. If he's practicing, he's wasting his time because he's not using anything that he practices, right? He's not trying to show us that he practices any goddamn thing. The Philadelphia 76ers are extremely easy to defend. And with them being extremely easy to defend, look at what Joel Embiid does on his own. Had he been healthy, he'd be the MVP and not Jokic. Let's not fool ourselves here. Now, the only goddamn thing Jokic does better than Embiid is pass. That's it. He's a better scorer. He's a better rebounder. He's a better help defender. He's a better rim protector. He is a better basketball player than Jokic. Had he been healthy, he'd be the MVP. Had they had Chris Paul, they'd be the NBA champions. These are the moves teams are scared to make. You have teams that are on the cusp, right? You have teams that are right there. That's why I don't think Miami getting a Kyle Lowry was a needle mover for me, right? That doesn't really do anything for me because you're not going to beat Brooklyn. You're probably not going to beat the Bucks with that lineup. You'll be competitive. You'll make it very interesting because as it stands right now with that team, that is a very good defensive team. But yet and still, they are missing something, right? And you've invested a lot of money into a lot of pieces on that team and guys who probably can't go. The type of money that they've invested in that team, you think one of those guys will be able to go out and get you 25 a night just falling out of the goddamn bed. Nobody on that team can do that, and that's a lot of money to spend for guys who are not capable of being able to do that. Right now, if I'm Denver, Jamal Murray would be in Portland right now. Dame Lillard would be a Nugget. If I'm Philly, Ben Simmons, Charles Barkley, Dr. J, Moses Malone, and our next 71 goddamn draft picks, we shipping all that shit to Portland. You imagine Philly with Dame Lillard and Joel Embiid? Woo! Listen, man, that's a dangerous squad. That would be a dangerous squad. I don't want to hear shit about draft picks. Fuck them draft picks. How quickly, look at all the draft picks OKC has. Be honest with yourself. How quickly do you think OKC is going to turn this around into being a contender? I'll wait. How quickly? How many years do you think it's going to take for OKC with all that draft capital they have to turn this around into being a winner? That's what the fuck I thought. Warriors. Even the Warriors taught everybody an important lesson. And this is something that the Bucks need to take heed to. This is something that Toronto should have took heed to when they won. You don't stop getting better. Because when you become the hunted, your job is to suit up to make sure that whoever the hunters are don't want to come back. They won 73 games. They went out and got Kevin fucking Durant. Say that again. They won 73 games. They went out and got Kevin fucking Durant. That's how you improve your team. If the question is, are you good enough? They answered the shit out of that question. I don't think that question has ever been answered that well before in the history of basketball. They did what they had to do to make sure that nobody was going to come into that stadium again while that team was healthy and take anything from them. That's how you manage a basketball team. That's how you manage a goddamn roster. I don't want to hear shit about what can and can't be done. This is your job as an executive. You get shit done. There ain't no two ways about this shit. I don't see what there is to negotiate. Bradley Beal is sitting over there and he's going to fade into obscurity. He's sitting over there in Washington and ain't nobody went over there to try to get him. How in the hell are the Atlanta Hawks not on the phone right now trying to get to Bradley Beal? How in the hell are the Dallas Mavericks not on the phone trying to get to Bradley Beal? Explain this to me. There are certain teams who should have been on the phone trying to get him. How the hell are the Boston Celtics not on the phone trying to get a Bradley Beal? And I can name other teams. Philly should be on the phone trying to get Bradley Beal in case they swing and miss with Dame Lillard. The Warriors are doing exactly what they need to do. The package they have for Ben Simmons is the best package. Problem is they're offering to the wrong goddamn team. That package should be offered to Portland for Dame Lillard. What? Does anybody understand? Well, can anybody let me know why teams want Ben Simmons? Anybody? I don't get it. And I'm only saying it because I've seen the package that the Warriors offer, and it's really, really good. Why in the hell would you want a left-handed Draymond Green? And that's probably disrespectful to Draymond because at least he'll shoot that bitch. He'll let that motherfucker go. At least he'll let the ball fly. Like Draymond could go 0 for 9. He'll hit his 10th shot and talk shit to you all the way down the court after making that 10th shot. At least he will attempt to shoot the damn basketball. Why they won't bend scissors is beyond me. And it's not to say that he's not a capable player, right? I think he's a really good basketball player. He's a top shelf defender, and I think he does a really good job of getting to the basket. Hell, you have to be since you won't shoot the damn basketball, but I don't see how that would mesh. I don't see how, you know what, that's probably why I'm sitting there talking to y'all, and probably why I'm not somewhere fucking up somebody else's team. But that's neither here nor there. Portland has done nothing to show you that they want to keep Dame Lillard. Nothing. Portland should have put fillers in for Kristaps Porzingis in Dallas. McCollum would have been Luka Doncic's backcourt mate. No problems. They've done, I haven't heard them say anything about getting Pascal Siakam, and he's been rumored to be on the trading block. I don't think they put any fillers out in Minnesota to get Karl Anthony Towns. They've shown Dame nothing. So here we are again. Are you rebuilding or are you contending? There are too many teams stuck in neutral that aren't doing any goddamn thing. You probably made some moves. You probably got better as a basketball team. But are you good enough? The fucking answer is no. And it is a resounding no for so many other teams in the league. And it's not just because the Brooklyn Nets have set the bar so high as it relates to being able to beat a team, but even without them, the Lakers were probably going to do what they did regardless of what Brooklyn is doing. You know what I'm saying? Or whomever, right? I think the aggressive nature to make sure that your superstars are happy and you can do what you can do to make their job easier is what's on Rob Pelinka's mind, and he's doing that at a very, very high rate. He should be the envy of every team or almost every team in the league because a lot of teams are just satisfied with doing fucking nothing. Knicks had a fuckload of money to throw away. That's exactly what they did. They threw it away. But at least they did something. At least they're going to go into the next season better than what they were, at least supposedly better than what they were last season. They did something, right? They tried. They took swings at players. The Clippers, presently put together, and I like the Clippers. I thought had they been healthy after all the injuries, if that was one team that would have stayed healthy, they would have won the NBA title. They re-signed Kawhi. If I'm being honest with you, I send Paul George ass to Portland. I think when you look at the deficiencies that team has, the number one issue is you don't know what version of Paul George you're going to get. There is absolutely no question about what version of Dame Lillard you're going to get. He alongside of Kawhi Leonard, the way that, and Ty Lue actually sold me something as a coach in the latter stages of the playoffs, so kudos to him. That team is well put together, well constructed. You got a lot of size. You got some shooting. You got good wing defenders. That team is missing just one thing, a consistent mate to go along with Kawhi Leonard. They don't get much more than consistent than Dame Lillard. That's the person you need. Paul George would have been gone the moment he could have been gone. I don't have time to figure out what version he was going to show up. You don't have time, and you've run out of time to convince me of what version of Paul George is going to show up. I just don't get it with Paul George. He had a magnificent Game 5 against Phoenix. 15 for 20, 41 points, put him in the best position in Game 6, and he shot the ball 15 times and had 21 points. He's ran out of time to show me what version we're going to get out of him night in and night out. He'd be in Portland doing whatever hell they do in Portland, and Dame Lillard would be a Clipper. End of discussion. I don't understand. If you want to win, you're going to have to pay. There are no two ways about it. If you don't pay now, you're going to pay eventually. You cannot continue to think that being average is going to save your job if you're an NBA executive. You cannot continue to think that not being able to take risk is going to continue to keep you employed. That's not how this works. You are largely graded by the right and wrong moves you make, how aggressive you are, and how lackadaisical you are in your approach. If you want to be average, there are a ton of other jobs you can be average at and remain employed. You have no job security being afraid to pull the goddamn trigger. The teams who are winning, the teams who are going to win, they have a great scouting department. And at the end of the day, They find superstars and put the best nucleus around those superstars to put those people in a position to win. If you are not doing that, you are wasting somebody's money. You're stealing. That's what the fuck you're doing. You're stealing. But it's all the time I'm giving. It's all the time I got, man. Hopefully we can come back and revisit some of these things that we've discussed this evening. It's going to be hard because people like a Brad Beal, probably even a Dame Lillard, they're probably not going to be moved until the trading deadline. And you're playing a serious game of Russian roulette with the trading deadline because somebody's value can decrease. Somebody can get injured. So whatever you probably could have asked for it now, you won't be able to ask for it then. So that's a slippery slope you're playing on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, man. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at the High Seat 19. You can follow me on Twitter at the High Seat 19. Y'all know how we get out of them comments on YouTube. So again, I thank you for hitting that play button. Like, share, and subscribe. When you do those things, it helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate it. But until the next time, you are officially off the high seat. Y'all be good.